Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby, your HMFIC for Warrior X Coffee, All Fit Strength and Conditioning. Finally back, the kitchen's in order. We got another episode of Cooking with Coach coming at you. Today, we're gonna knock out some carne asada, stick with that Southwest theme. A lot of times, this is a typical dinner menu. Not for this guy. I'll eat it for breakfast, for snack, for second breakfast, for lunch, afternoon lunch, whatever it takes. Big fan. All right, so with the carne asada, for those of you who don't speak Spanish, we're talking about some steak here and some well-flavored steak. It's gonna have some citrus, a little bit of heat to it. Throw it on the grill after you let it marinate. Tastes delicious. I like to chop it up, throw it in my tacos with a little bit of fresh cilantro, some fresh jalapeno, and a little bit of onion on either a corn or flour tortilla. Or if you're really trying to stay on the less processed side, throw it over the top of some rice and mix that together into a steak bowl. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and I'm gonna get that made up for you. I'll post a link to the recipe in the comment section here, because I'm sure you guys don't want me to sit here and go through the whole thing with you. But first thing we wanna do is make sure we get our marinade done. You don't wanna shortchange that on the time. Let that really soak into the meat. When we talk about our meat, whether it's for this recipe or for any other recipe that you're doing, you want to make sure that your meat has an even thickness all the way through, because that makes the cooking process go a whole lot smoother for you. You also get some consistency in the way your meat is cooked. We're going to do that with our flank steak today. We're going to put it between a couple pieces of wax paper. We're going to take our tenderizing hammer with the flat side. We don't want to use the tooth side. We use that flat side, mash it a little flat, then throw our marinade on there. So we've got all of our ingredients combined here in our bowl. We're gonna go ahead and whisk this together, and while I'm doing that and we get a good whisk out of this, what we're gonna end up doing is saving about a cup of this marinade, because that's what we're gonna pour fresh over the top of our steak as soon as we get it all cooked up. So now what you're gonna wanna do, because we're gonna marinate for a while, all right? Don't just leave this sitting out. Go ahead and keep some off to the side, but make sure you cover that, put it in the fridge, so it doesn't go bad on you. I'm gonna keep about a cup of it. And then we'll pour the rest. All right, so we got our marinade in the fridge that we're gonna save for later. I got my leftover stuff that I'm gonna go here and put on my meat in just a second here. But as you take a look at these, you can see this piece is just a little bit thicker than this piece, in which this end is thicker than this end. So that's why we want to take our wax paper and we're going to take our hammer and we're going to go ahead and we're going to flatten this out a little bit so we make sure we get an even cook before we put it in our marinade bag and stick it in the fridge. Now once I get that all done, what I'm going to do is put it in the fridge for a minimum of an hour. If time allows, do it overnight. The longer you can marinate that without your meat going bad, the more flavor you're going to get inside of it. Meat, marinade in the bag. One of the important things to remember when you put this in the fridge is to make sure, first of all, that you get all the air out of the bag, and then that you lay this bag flat. So what I recommend is you get a pan or something, a plate, something that's got some edges on it, so in case your bag leaks, you don't have marinade and steak juice all over your fridge, because then you got to go through and clean all that. What we're going to do is throw that in there. I'm going to let that marinade. We're going to come back to you, and weather permitting, we may be grilling this or we may have to do it on the pan. It all kind of depends. So I let the steak sit in the fridge for 12 hours and marinate. That way the citrus and some of that spice really gets into the meat, gives it a really good flavor. I've got my cast iron pan heating up behind me because, as I mentioned before, I knew the weather wouldn't cooperate, so I'm not going to be able to get out there and put it on the grill. But as is the case with most of the things for All Fit Strength and Conditioning, we improvise, we adapt, and we overcome. So we're going to go ahead and cook this Typically on a grill at medium-high heat, you want to go 3 to 4 minutes per side. That's why we pounded that flat, so we could get a good even cook through there and it not take all day to do it. With the cast iron pan, that may take a little bit longer. We'll see how it goes. All right, so my steak is done the way I like it, somewhere between medium rare, medium, somewhere right in there. I'm gonna let it rest for about 10 minutes and then I'm gonna slice this up. When you're doing carne asada and you're using a flank steak, you wanna cut against the grain of the steak. And that's what gives you that real tender, real nice flavor. Makes it real easy to eat. It's delicious. I'm gonna put some onions, some cilantro. I've got my leftover marinade and some lime here. Put those all together and enjoy them. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments if you did. If you're not following along, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And always remember, we're gonna train, we're gonna sweat, and we're gonna achieve. Go ahead and kick ass, guys.